Plain Text Editor from Sindre Sorhus gives you a simple, distraction-free place to write. It's $5 in the Mac App Store, and that gives you access to the app on your iPad and iPhone as well. It's also eligible for family sharing, and no data is collected from the app. I'll pop this down and launch Plain Text Editor. When it first launches, you'll instantly get a blank window ready to type. It's not like Pages or Word where you have to choose a template and all those shenanigans. Even TextEdit shows you the file browser first instead of just opening an empty document so you can get to the work of writing. At the top of Plain Text Editor, you've got the name, which says Untitled for now, and at the bottom you can see the word and character count, which is of course a score of 0 to 0 right now. Let's drop in my introduction to the ScreenCastsONLINE videos. Now you can see that we have 12 words and 82 characters. If I select some words, like say my name for example, down at the bottom you can see it now says 2 words and 16 characters. There's a little blue symbol next to the counts, so you're aware that this is only a subset of the total count. At the top, I can select the name and change the name to Delete Me, so I know I can delete it later. I'll save it to my desktop as a text file. You can't embed images into Plain Text Editor. You can't use Markdown. You don't get any formatting options at all. That's because the focus is on just getting some thoughts down without fussing around with how it looks. Let's open the settings, which we can do with Command Comma. The General tab lets us change the appearance to dark or light, or leave it to follow the system. If you want to force yourself to focus and just write, turn on Stay on Top. Now the Plain Text Editor window will stay above all other windows. If you find yourself kind of peeking around the window to read your Mastodon feed when you should be writing, choose Start in Full Screen. Let me quit, and I'll reopen Plain Text Editor, and you can see it opened in full screen. Notice that it didn't open our old file, and it didn't show us the file browser urging us to open that file. Now I don't favor full screen, so I'll close this new window, open Settings again, and toggle off Stay on Top and Start in Full Screen. I'll use Command-N to open a new, smaller window. The Editor tab has a few more settings. You can change the default text size. I'll slide it all the way to the top, and then I'll type the intro again. It's not huge, but it's pretty big. I can use the revert arrow to bring it back to the default of 15. You may be different from me, but I find that a monospace font helps me stay focused, and that's the default in Plain Text Editor. If you pick a different font than System, say Apple Chancery if you're feeling fancy, the monospace toggle disappears. Let's change it back to System and toggle off monospace, and now you can see the default variable spaced System font. I'll put it back to monospace. I'll demonstrate what optimal line length does by dragging the size slider. Optimal line length for readability is 45 to 75 characters. So Plain Text Editor tries to hit around 60 characters wide. The variation occurs because non-monospace fonts don't have consistent character widths. If you'd prefer to let the characters fill the entire window width, you could toggle off optimal line length. If you like smart quotes and dashes, you've got an option to turn both of those on. The window for Plain Text Editor is pretty minimalistic, but you can make it even simpler by hiding the title bar. I'll toggle that back on. The next option will allow you to give Plain Text Editor a translucent background. The switch is disabled for me, and the text explains that it does not work with reduced transparency enabled. I'll pop open System Settings, go into Accessibility, then Display, and toggle off Reduced Transparency. I'll flip back to Plain Text Editor and turn on Translucent Background. As I move the window around, you can see what's behind it showing through. Personally, this is something I wouldn't use, especially for an app that's designed to help me focus, but it's there if you like it. I'll toggle it back off and flip over to System Settings and toggle back on Reduce Transparency and quit System Settings. If your language requires right-to-left writing or you simply prefer it, you can set this toggle. I'll just type a few words here and then toggle that back off. Content padding gives you a small margin at the top and bottom of the text if you've set optimal line length. We have content padding on right now, but let's go up and turn off optimal line length and go down and turn off content padding. Now you can see that we've lost our padding all the way around. I'll turn content padding back on and re-enable optimal line length. We can toggle off the word and character counts independently, and we can also toggle on line count. I'll toggle that back off. We have two more settings we can make under Advanced. By default, if I go to the menu bar and select File, Close, you'll see the familiar Save or Delete dialog box. I'll cancel. If I toggle on Close Without Saving, and I go to the File menu, now you can see Close Without Saving, and I can use the keystroke of Control-Command-W. I'll toggle that back off in Settings. Earlier on the Editor tab, we looked at the setting to keep the window on top. If you'd like easy access to this feature, select Show Stay on Top Toggle in Window Toolbar. Now you can see there's a pin in the upper right, and that'll keep the window on top of all other windows, but you can toggle it on and off right from that pin. Note that when that pin is added, the title moves to the left of the title bar. Under the Editor menu, you can get to some of the same controls as you saw in Settings. You have the appearance change to light or dark mode. Text size lets you just bump it up or down a smidge. You could toggle optimal line length on and off, and force right to left typing. Now the last option might be one of the most interesting features of Plain Text Editor. If you toggle on brain dump mode, you get a pop-up explaining that it will only allow you to add text and not delete. This means no editing, no rethinking things you've written. Just quit fooling around and get all of your thoughts out of your head. You can toggle it back off later and then finesse what you've written. As always with Sindre Sorhus' apps, you're encouraged to send feedback directly to him. Open Settings, General, and you have a Send Feedback button, and that would open a web form. He also encourages us to check the FAQs first, and you can click on FAQ to get right to it.